Hi there, my name's Kason, and today I'm going to take you on a quick tour of a truck I bought a few years ago. It's a 1990 F250 with a 7.3 IDI Diesel, 5-speed transmission, and it's 4-wheel drive. I bought it a few years ago off a guy that was hoping to bring it up to Vancouver, BC in Canada, but he couldn't get it across the border. So he put it for sale on Craigslist in Bellingham, Washington, which is where I saw it. And so I bought it. The truck had spent most of its life in Arizona, and it had about 200,000 miles on it. So the drivetrain was in really good condition, but cosmetically and steering-wise, it was in need of a little attention. I bought the truck, brought it home, rebuilt a Dana 60 front axle from an F350 and threw that under the truck. We put a new box on it and did lots of cosmetic and aesthetic kind of stuff to it. It drives fantastic. There's no rattles. It's tight as a drum. Starts every time. And the fun part for me is that it garnered lots of attention everywhere I took it. I sold it about a month ago to a young fellow in town here, and he agreed graciously to let me use the truck today to shoot this video. During the hour that I had the truck, I was approached by 2 different guys eager to know more about this cool looking old Ford. Gotta say, that was pretty fun and kind of rewarding. Anyways, without further ado, let's take a look at the Blue Beauty. Perhaps the first thing you can see is that it's been repainted. The truck was already in really nice shape. I bought it from someone that drove it up here from Arizona, so there's no rust or anything on it, and there wasn't before it was painted. The bed had been damaged, so I just bought a new bed locally here for a couple $100, and that was straight as could be. Really happy with the way the paint job turned out. The passenger side door was some kind of an aftermarket door that was very obviously thinner sheet metal, and it sounded like it every time you closed it. So I just bought another Ford door, and now it sounds and works just like it should. While we were at the paint job, we sprayed the bed with bed liner. Might be a little tough to see in the bright sunlight here, but there's 4 LED interior lights, or bed lights, on each side. At the front here, you can tell that we've put a new grille, new headlights on it, and I've got a big old LED light bar that's tied to the high beams here. That works out really well. Little detail here, we incorporated LED taillights into OEM looking replacement. Right between the taillights and the bumper, I snuck 3 little LED lights in there. They look spectacular at night. Also, LED license plate lamps. I found these wheels for sale locally, and then I found the tires separately, 315, 75, 16, and they fit this truck just perfectly. The year prior to working on this truck, I had bought a Dana 60 with 410 gears in it locally here, and I spent a fair bit of time in my evenings completely rebuilding it. Every moving part on that Dana 60 has been replaced, rebuilt, including seals, ball joints, tie rod ends, all the steering linkages, etc. And we bolted it directly to those F250 2-inch leaf springs. It rides pretty rough, but I sure like that. Underneath the hood, you can see we've got a stock 7.3 IDI Diesel. This is just a great, reliable engine. It's a pleasure to drive this vehicle. It's not real big on power. It doesn't have a turbo, but it's dead nuts reliable. It starts immediately under any circumstances, which is really nice. I put a alternator from, I think it's a mid-90s Econoline, and that's got an internal regulator which puts out a lot more juice than the original 1990 F250 alternator did. Added a few relays and fuses here to power some of the lights that we've added. We added an LED light bar, of course, and then we've got some LED lights in the bed and rock lighting underneath, which lights up as soon as you open the side doors, courtesy lighting, if you will. I recently put a new radiator in it, as well as a new water pump. I also put a new power steering pump and reservoir in, and if you look way down there, you might be able to see the Redhead Steering Box that I added or replaced. So everything south of the steering wheel itself is brand new, actually including the steering wheel. Even the steering column, which is hard to see here, came out of a different truck. This truck came with tilt steering originally, and that whole steering column was kind of floppy. So I just put one in from a low mileage base model truck with no tilt steering. The interior on this truck is really nice. I'm really happy with this. It's an XLT model, but the interior was really in rough shape. So I just found new door panels from a base model truck, as well as all the surrounds for all the gauges. These were that wood grain material, and they had really started to deteriorate. So I just found the stuff from a base model truck, and that worked out really well. The original seat was shredded beyond any practical use. So I had put some Subaru bucket seats in here, which worked out really nicely. And then the young fellow that I sold this truck to, who has graciously loaned it to me for this video shoot, has replaced it with perhaps the best seat possible, which is an original OBS Ford blue velour bench seat. It looks perfect, and it's in spectacular condition. This is still the original carpet, which is in really nice condition all around. I replaced the steering wheel with this NRG steering wheel with a quick release. You can see that the shifter has been modified to bring it back towards the seat, and also to put a bit of a curve to it so it sits right where your hand falls. Works out really well, and it feels good when you shift. The head unit is a Pioneer. I'm not sure what model it is, but it looks good and it sounds good, along with the Polk audio speakers in each door. When I put this steering column in, I removed the key cylinder, and with some creative JB welding work, covered the keyhole and removed all of that function right over to here. And we've got a simple toggle switch to power ignition. You can see the glow plug lights indicate very briefly because it's a warm day, and then a simple push of the start button and you're good to go. This truck starts first time, every time. To the left of that toggle switch is switches that control the underbody lights and the bed lights. And to shut this thing off, that's all it takes. On top of the dash, a simple USB charge port and a magnetic phone mount. I'm not sure if you can tell in the video here, but we've got some grizzly fur for the headliner. And a simple LED interior light. Nice little detail here. Both of the fuel fill doors were painted separately from the body itself. And when I put it all back together again, made sure that it was clean, new fuel lids, attention to detail that makes it look good. The stance on this truck is really nice. The fellow that I sold it to put 2-inch wheel spacers on the back so that the rear wheels track exactly with the front wheels. Nice little detail that looks really sharp. I'm not sure how many miles the truck had on it before we started the work, but I'm guessing it's about 210,000 miles. Judging by the way it runs now and with all the mechanical work that's been done to it recently, it should go for a long time and give this young new owner plenty of years of happy motoring. Well, I hope that gives you a good idea of this fun old Ford. It was a great truck to work on, lots of fun. I sure learned a lot. And it was just a pleasure to own, spectacular vehicle to drive, and all in all, a very rewarding project. I mentioned earlier that I sold the truck here to a young guy in town, and I'm excited about that because he's gonna treat it even better than I did. He's a young guy that gets how cool old Ford pickups are. I expect I'm gonna see it around town quite regularly. If you've got any questions about the work that I did on the truck or anything else related to it, put a note in the comments down below. Thanks a lot for watching. Take care.